Hello there.
Hey.
How's everyone doing?
Hi. Hey, kitties. What's going on, kitties? Clark and I are sitting there just chit-chatting and chilling. Say hi to the peoples, Clark. You gonna say hi? You gonna say hi to the peoples? Look, Clark, they're over there. Look, they're over there. You gonna sit right there. You gonna wave to them? You gonna say hi? Hi.
We're going through this every week.
I mean, like, what the hell? Like, why not? I mean, like, she's and she should
Well,
be. I mean, come on.
instead of why not, it should be why.
No, it's more why not. It's why not. It's why not.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
Sure, we'll go with that. Hi, hey Joshua. Hey, Miss Sugar Snap. Dylan, what's going on, boo boo? So glad to see all of y'all here.
Yes.
What's new? What's crack-a-lacking? Oh, and by the way, listen, Miss Sugar Snap, you know, we did have this conversation because some little birdie told me that you had changed jobs. And I know we have been talking, and if you've said it to me and I missed it, then baby, I'm sorry, but it sunk in today when I heard it. But you know, congratulations, and we'll talk about that when we talk. So, but also on the job front, and making moves, Dylan, check in with us. What's going on? How's things going with you? I haven't seen you in a minute to really have that conversation with you, but hope all is going well.
Well, he's still here, so that means he hasn't murdered anyone.
That is a good thing. That is,
or if he did, at least he's hidden the body well enough, so they haven't caught him yet.
And murdered is actually a very relative term. Murdered. It's like,
I mean, you know, well, he stays slaying the kids, so there is.
Okay, all right, okay. So I just want to be, you know, it's a relative, you know, the relative team. I mean, relative,
right.
So we just want to make sure that's together.
Exactly.
But hey kittens, welcome to the show tonight.
Woohoo!
Y'all have had a great week, and you've had a great day, and everything's been going well for you. Hopefully. So, hey.
Right.
I will. So I'm sorry. Let me just jump right out there. So I am. This week has been a little crazy for me, and especially after the show, I got some really sad news that I'm going to, about my grandmom. I lost my grandmom last week, and it was really weird, but it was unexpected, and but it wasn't unexpected at the same time. My grandmother was 100 years old, and she had great grandkids. And so, listen, Susie Mae Beatty will forever live on in everything that I say, everything that I do, sometimes the way I do things. And so I'm happy about my grandmother, being in a beautiful place at this particular point. With that being said, what I am also not looking forward to with this particular part of this process is deal with the rest of my motherfucking family. I don't know if this just happened and I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about this, but I had one of both my uncles I wasn't really speaking to. So let's just start right there. One of them wound up calling me and I wound up calling him back. And it was one of the most awkward conversations ever. Because as I'm talking to him, he's like, so how's the job? And I'm like, thinking to myself, what the fuck does that have to do with what we're talking about right now? You're trying to transition into conversation like we are just cool. Oh, okay. I see where you're going.
Exactly.
So, my mind was racing and I'm laughing and joking about that.
We should hang out more often, nephew. That was what I got. And I was like, nigga.
That's kind of, so that was partly what they said. Cause they said, well, you should stop by and, cause we're not that far. And I was like,
stop by for what?
You have lived in the same place. The fact that I know your address by heart and and I've only been there probably 4 times in my life. Listen, it's okay. And listen, let me be clear, just in case, actually not even just in case any of them are watching, because that has nothing to do with this. But let me just be clear. You're still my uncle. Nothing's going to change that. It is what it is. Do we have conversations? Do we hang out? No, not really. My cousins, your kids, are we related? Yes. Do we hang out? No. Do they live here near me? Yes. Could I possibly bump into 1 or 2 of them on the street in downtown DC? Very possible, considering one works downtown and one works at the Pentagon. Very possible. However, will that happen? Who knows? Right. But I will say all that to say that at least there was an attempt and there was an effort, and I was able to at least have a brief conversation. Now, the other one left me a message, and he is the one that would be all in his feelings. And I heard his message, and I heard him already in his feelings. And I know when he gets in his feelings, he wants to do bad things. So whether that's drink or other things, I can't dictate that. I can't stop you from doing any of that. But it was very reminiscent of when I was younger and he would do those things. But again, that was all from your message. But I haven't spoken to that one. And I don't know if I am going to speak to that one, but I'm just trying to set my boundaries up correctly so that when I do go home for this event, I can be in a very comfortable space mentally. So, but other than that, all is well. I did have some conversations about my mom and making sure that she did not know, which was a very hard decision to make. But I felt like it was a necessary decision.
Yeah, you and I talked about that. I mean, not that you needed my opinion, but you and I just discussed it. But I agreed, it would be too much for her to process. She wouldn't be able to understand exactly what was going on. And it would just compound your epic's stress over the whole thing. Because not only you wouldn't even really be able to get into your own grief for making sure that she didn't harm herself accidentally or just be like totally lost. Because, when you're already dealing with certain challenges, stressful information like that, can make it significantly worse.
Yeah. And the other piece too, because, she's one of these people that seems to have moments of lucidity. Mm-hmm. I don't want her reliving this over and over again. So that is a conversation that was one of the reasons why I spoke to my uncle, to share that information with him and make sure that was not, that's something that didn't happen. Right. But it's always going to be one family member I know that has probably already reached out and said something, and it's just I don't know.
In what way?
Huh?
What? Reach out and said what?
Reach out and probably said something to her.
Oh yeah.
So again,
sometimes people use this opportunity to settle their own things or do whatever. So.
And listen, all that is maybe true, but for me, what I'm trying to settle is my own spirit, because this, while I am, I lost a grandmother, and I was very close to my grandmother growing up. As I got older, it's my grandmother. I still talk to her, I still cherish her, and I love her. But I think I'm more so just concerned about her at this particular point. But with all that being said, I can look at it one way and say, oh, well, she doesn't really know, so it's not going to be something that you have to really deal with. But then I kind of feel bad because I feel like everybody should have that opportunity. But I understand why it would not be advantageous to her to have that conversation and to have that moment. And I'm okay with that. I made that decision. So, but all in all, I'm good. I did take a day or two from the Black Degree Factory, and I had a Monique moment. I woke up and I said, "Girl, fuck that job, fuck them kids." And
as you should have, because them hoes is giving you all kinds of stress unnecessarily over some bullshit that they did, and then now wants you to handle. So yeah, girl, fuck that.
Yeah. So, but that's been pretty much my week. That's been pretty much what's going on with me. But I definitely appreciate. I didn't make any public announcements and all that type of stuff. And I'm talking about this on this show because I know that everybody on this show is well versed in where I am and what's going on with my family. Hey, Spiller Boy, I was able to confirm what the date is and all that stuff is set. So hey Des, I was able to get all that stuff out there. So, but again, I'm in a good space and I'm good. I appreciate all the support around me and the so I'm good. I will share, and I did not share this before, so I'm going to share because they're on here. But I will share. I was having a conversation, and you know how you do that word association and you go down a rabbit hole, like you'll say black, and then the first thing that comes to your mind will be like, because I'm looking at your shirt, it'll be like cock, and then it'll be like chicken, and then it'll be like soup, and then it'll be like, and you go all the way down a rabbit hole. I was having a conversation, and it really bothered me because I went down this rabbit hole and I started thinking about my mom, and it was just like, so that was my moment where I kind of, that was a moment where I had a moment that particular time. But it was good because I was able to kind of let some stuff go. So it was cool. But for right now, I'm pretty good. I'm holding on, and I still have memories. I laugh and joke about stuff. I reached out to one of my childhood best friends because we both I think a lot of people that have in my life, whether they are friends, family, gay, straight, or whatever, we've value our grandparents in certain ways. And so I broke the news to one of my friends by saying, listen, which is true. I was like, listen, my grandmother has now become a part of the iconic house of grandmother. We've gotten another legend in the legendary grandparent house. Mm-hmm. And she will be greeted by, a few Caldwells and Anthony's and Gross and just a whole bunch of other people that are there. So but I appreciate being able to express myself that way. So I appreciate you all for listening about that. But enough about that. I'm battling on, and I thank you for the comments, Dylan. Appreciate that. But that was my week. That's where my week has been. And I'm sorry, and I've been dealing with my crazy baby who's been running around like she has lost her mind. Like she's like bouncing off the walls like Spider-Man. Like she has the zoomies, and she's like, she'll come and run past me, be like, chink, 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 and then like jump on me and jump off like I'm a springboard. I was like, girl, what are you doing? So she's had a lot of that going on with this week. Mm-hmm. But other than that, all's well. It's been a really interesting week, both good and bad. So that's me. That's my week, and I wanted to just say that, get that out the way, and keep it moving. So, but anyway, I'm now going to start. Well, I'm going to say start. I don't know where I was going to go with that, but I'm ready to ask you a question and say, how was your week? That's what I was trying to get to.
I had another moment on Friday where I came close to, calling it quits. Not on life, girl.
No, I got it. I'm like,
we've already had that conversation, bitch. If I'm never going to commit suicide, I'm mad at other bitches. I'm not mad at myself.
Listen, I said that before. Like, bitch, I'm not gonna kill somebody say I killed myself, and definitely if they push me off a ledge or I got a needle somewhere in me, baby, it's a setup.
Right. And like, listen, if I am found dead on a jogging trail, you know that I was killed elsewhere and put there, right?
You're an idiot.
Unless it was a jogging trail that was frequented by the kids,
right?
Then maybe it was trade gone wrong,
right? Okay.
And this is just like a regular hiking trail. Like if it's
we've done that, but
like if it's off in the cut, like in the woods or like in a secluded spot, then maybe it was trade gone wrong. But if you're just jogging, you're like, what's that fat thing, thing lying in the woods? And like, my body is lying just off of the trail. Know that I was killed elsewhere and put there because there was no way, one, that I was jogging,
I mean, listen.
So there is that. And so, because I was just like, you know what? I'm over the way these hoes treat me. I'm over all this dumb shit. And, I called my girl. Well, she happened to call me right at the right moment. And we talked for like an hour. And then she talked to my boss and basically told my boss, it was like, you need to get your shit together because you about to be doing all of this work by yourself because you don't know how to treat people. Well, that's her good Judy. So, they had an offline conversation about that because it was a couple of things. The thing that distressed me the most, right? The most was how she responds to other people's tragedies. So, one of the guys that works for me who is like thank you, Spill It Boy. I got this at the Eagle in Fort Lauderdale. And even when I bought it, I was like, oh, this is just a heart. And then it was like later I looked at the shit and I was like, yes, bitch. So I didn't even realize what the whole, because girl, I be wearing this in the Toys R Us, and I don't wear it in the Toys R Us, but I be wearing it all out and not realizing there's a hand holding a dick. But I love this shirt. So, but a couple of weeks ago, one of the guys that works for me, who is really good, like really, really, really good at his job. Now, he's not perfect. He still needs to understand and put some of the pieces together. But he's like 85% there, which is better than the 0% there than the last person that we had on the team was. Well, his best friend killed himself. And he's this guy is also a Navy veteran. And when you're in the military, and I discovered this working at the Air Force, working for the Air Force, your best friends are also your colleagues, the people who you put your life on the line for. They put your life on the line for you. You depend on them in a way that even maybe you and your best friend don't. So his best friend killed himself. And so I'm of the opinion, if you're doing a good job, baby, if you need to take off a day or leave 2 or 3 hours early, as long as your shit is taken care of, I don't give a fuck. I mean, just don't dip without telling me you're gone, but it's fine. So they had a homegoing service for him in Huntsville because that's where he was last stationed. So again, the people that you work with are also your best friends and your family. So they had a homegoing service there. He knew that we had a bunch of deliverables due. And so he went down to Huntsville to do it, but he had arranged it so he could leave after work and come back before work started and get all that done. So he's coming back. This is the Wednesday before I was leaving to go down to Orlando, which we'll get to. And we were in our morning huddle, so it's like 8:35, 8:40, and Antonio, this guy was not on the huddle, and my boss is like, "Where's so and so?" I was like, "Oh well, he's flying back from Huntsville," and he's like, she had like an attitude, like a low level attitude about it, and then when I told her about it, she was like, "Well, where's Antonio? Where's this guy?" And I was like, well, his best friend killed himself, and he was at the funeral, and now he's flying back home. He'll be back online in like 30 minutes or whatever. And it was just like her attitude about it, and basically she was like, she says this all the time, like if anybody gets sick or anything, it's like, well, the work still need to get done. And I was like, bitch, we all know the work needs to get done, but you don't need to say that. And she said that a couple of times, like one day I really wasn't feeling well and my throat was really sore. But I look at it like this. I work at home. So even if my throat is sore, that don't stop me from working. But I was on meetings and I was like, so I can't really talk very loud today. And then she was like, I mean, if you're not feeling well, then you should probably just take the time off because no one wants to hear all of that. But then she does the same shit. And so I had said to my girl, I was like, I don't need to be putting up with this kind of bullshit because we already got to work hard enough. And then to be in this environment where people don't support you And I look back at the amount of time that I've taken off. I have 5 weeks of vacation, and I have barely used 1 week of it so far into this year. Now, I went to Orlando, right? But I didn't take a bit of time off. I worked all day Thursday, I worked all day Friday, and I worked all day Monday from the fucking airport. Part of that I worked literally sitting in one of the chairs until I could get into the lounge, and I worked in the lounge.
Oh, that's that United Lounge again?
No, girl. Because I don't work for United, and I didn't pay for it. I have a platinum Amex. Cha-ching. So that gives you access to their priority pass to different lounges. So this was just a lounge there in the spot. And I had a cute little lunch, and I could have had cocktails, but I was, working and everything. So I was just like, I don't need to put up with this bullshit. And then she said when she talked to her, she was like, oh, this is about old boy. And she was like, yeah. And so they sort of walked through that. And she was like, well, yeah, the work still needs to get done. And, my friend, our mutual friend was like, but yeah, you don't need to say that to people. And she was like, listen, my mother had a stroke last week, but I didn't miss even a single day because of it. And I was like, well, bitch, maybe you should. Yeah, your mother had a stroke.
How about you go be with your mom? How about that?
Right, girl. Nothing that we do around here is that critical. But see, she's a little older, and she grew up in this industry and in a time where there wasn't a lot of Black people and definitely not a lot of Black women. So she has this whole mentality like, she can't take time. I mean, she does take like a week off here or a week off there, but she doesn't really want, or it doesn't feel like you're encouraged to use all 5 of those weeks that you have, because like I looked at it, I took off 3 days, 6 days. So I've taken off 8 days, and we're more than halfway through the year. And I have I have 25 days. So I'm more than halfway through the year, and I've only taken off a third of the time that I could have taken. Not that you necessarily need to, but baby, other people that work with us, baby, let me tell you how this 5 weeks, I'll be like, y'all don't coordinate this shit with nothing. You knew we had this deliverable coming up next week, and then you talking about you out for 2 weeks. But whatever. So we had that conversation, and I was like, well, one thing, I know that we're all supposed to be getting a bonus, or our supplement at the end of the year. Okay. But then I also get a bonus, but then we also get an opportunity to rate our bosses. And that plays into their bonus. And
but you don't have any problems with your boss as far as the work goes. Now you're
the work is terrible. Not terrible. There's a million things there because this is an awful system where people are not penalized for failure or for not doing their job. And I'm really good at what I do. Like really, really good. And so
oh wait, is the system the fault of your supervisor, or is the system the fault of the company and what they've instituted?
The system is the fault of the company. But if you have the support of your supervisor, then at least you can sort of deal with it. But her thing is, I don't need someone to pat me on the back, every time I take a step or, every time I take a piss. But, it would be nice to be like, good job handling these 30 things at once. Because if you look at the list, because, I love a OneNote. If you look at the list of things that I am working on in any given week, I'm working about 75 to 100 things. And I get probably 40 to 50% of them done. Then the next stuff just moves on to the next one. But it's not like that list ever really goes away because more shit just keeps getting added to it. And then, when something small falls through the crack, often, which isn't my fault, like she keeps harping on these documents that we need to do. And what I want to say is they're called charters. So like a project charter and a requirements document. And she's like, oh yeah, by the way, where are we with those documents? You know, they should have been done 2 years ago. And I was like, no, 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 no. They should have been done 4 years ago when you were managing the project. But you had a whole lot to do, so you never got to them. And I can respect the conversation that says, hey, we need to prioritize these things, but don't make it seem like these things haven't gotten done because I dropped the ball. Right. No, I didn't drop the ball. It's because you keep giving me more and more balls, and I
fucking juggle
don't drop any of them.
Yep.
And I don't drop the most critical ones. And those charters haven't been critical for 4 years.
So bitch, what makes you think
there are a million other things that are more critical than getting those charters done? So which, you know, I should do like my boyfriend says, he says, so he'll say to his boss, so which of these things would you like me to put to the side in order to
get the time? All the time. Baby, don't give me a list of 75 things to do and keep giving them to me. And or either you give me one list and you keep adding it, or you give me 75 things on one list at the same time. And you're like, well, the dates, the deadlines and the dates on this don't correspond with what the hell we got going on every single day. So which one of these things, or which blocks of these things you want to get done? Because I'm going to try to work this list from the beginning to the end. But if you identify which ones are critical, or if you identify which ones you want right now, those are the things I work on. Maybe I can't stand that. Well, you didn't do this. Maybe you've been giving me stuff all day long.
Right. And that was the main thing. It's like, at least an acknowledgement that, hey, there is this extra thing that I need you to do. And I know you're already working a million things, but we really need to prioritize this. And so that's what I do with my staff, because I found myself slipping a little bit into some of those same things, just like to the guy whose best friend died. I was like, well, why didn't we get this done? But then I was like, you know what? I am not going to be that person. I'm not going to be that. So anytime I say to him, listen, I know you're already working on a million things, but I need to add this 1,000,001 things to it. And this needs to take precedence over everything. So I'm telling him, all them other million things you need to do, you need to put that to the side for the next hour or however long it takes to get this one thing done, because everybody needs to get this thing done. Not just like, well, Stuart needs this done and he needs it done now. I was like, okay, bitch, you could have told him, you know, we'll get it to him in a minute. So it just felt like constant piling on. And I said to our friend, I was like, I don't need this shit. I do not. I was like, the money here is cute, but the daily money is not that cute. What is really cute is the bonus and whatever, because all of that might push me into a new tax bracket when I get all of that money at the end of the year. But the amount of money that I bring home every week, to some people, yes, it's upper middle class. But to me, you know, I'm just broke at a different level. Let's just be very clear.
Listen, because to be clear, broke happens at every level.
It's multimillionaires out here that's broke. So, but anyway, so I was having like a real moment because shit kept just getting piled on and piled on and piled on. And then a lot of times those things get piled on because other people didn't do what they were supposed to do. And they're allowed to either walk away or turn in a shitty work product. But then I'm held to this standard of like, this has to be perfect before it goes out of here. But I'm only supposed to be the conduit for getting this shit from one place to another. They were supposed to update it. Well, we got to do it or whatever. And I'm just like, the fuck? You know, so, but this money that's supposed to be coming now, if this money don't come at the end of the year, you know it's a wrap. There's just no way that it's not a wrap if the money don't come at the end of the year, because the things that I do are interesting, and I made a conscious decision.
Hold on, sorry, go keep talking.
You need to put her in a kennel.
Let her baby alone.
Put her in timeout. But I just am not going to continue to put up with all of this foolishness and not get paid for it. So we'll see what happens at the end of the year. But I told my friend, I didn't say this to my boss. I was like, I'm only here in this group until October, which is my 1-year anniversary. And then I will start looking for another position in the Amtrak infrastructure real hard. Okay. So any snooch. So that is that. And then, so in the midst of all of this,
when was your anniversary though? I'm sorry. When was your 1-year anniversary?
October 21st.
It'll be okay. Because I'm asking because I was like, it made me remember because my actual 1 year was actually yesterday, and I was like, damn. I was like, what? That's all? It's only been a year.
What the feels fuck? Like forever.
Bitch. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. So, and it's not that I don't enjoy some of most of what I do, because it is challenging, but I purposely sought out that challenge because for a very long time, like 4 years, I had felt unchallenged. All that shit that I was doing at the Air Force, I was like, girl. And the worst part about the Air Force was that you couldn't go nowhere at the Pentagon. So you sort of stuck there. And then when they took away, you couldn't even bring your fucking, once they start saying you couldn't even bring your fucking phone into the shit. And then, so you couldn't do anything. There wasn't a whole lot of work to do. So you're sitting there. And as much as the pay at United Airlines was very cute, that work was mostly boring as shit. And so there's never a dull day at Amtrak. So maybe I need to dial that down like a little. So I am grateful for the mental stimulation, but some of the stress that goes along with it would be a little bit more manageable if you had support from leadership where it's like, listen, I know this system sucks. I know you got a million things to do, but, we're all in this together. It feels like I'm in this by myself and everybody, the big boss gets shit on, so he shits downhill. He shits downhill to her, and then she shits downhill to me. And theoretically, I have 3 people that I could shit on too, but I refuse to be that person.
I don't want to. I tell my counselors all the time because I remember being in that position where I would go to work and I would do work, but I would be angry because I feel like everybody's polishing on. But this is where the majority of the work gets done. So for me, as that person to have to manage them or supervise them, I'm like, baby, I need to be sweet as pie to you because I need to make sure you get this shit done. And I'm gonna give you whatever you need. Tell me what you need and let me make it happen. I will try to shield you from the bullshit, the nonsense, whatever, because baby, I need you to do what you do best, which is do it.
And that was what she had to say to my boss. I was like, you keep acting the way that you're acting, and you're going to be doing all of this by yourself. Because she's in her early mid-60s. She's like 63. Her birthday is in September. I think she'll be like 64 or maybe even 65. But she's Black, so she looked like she's in her early 50s. Or late 40s. It could have been so she ain't going nowhere. But I'm only 52. So I got plenty of opportunities and other places I can go. And, that's another reason why you don't want to shit on people too hard, because it's a lot of work. And if you think you got a lot of work now, I'm not saying she's not exactly sitting around eating bonbons. So I'm not saying that she doesn't have a lot of work to do. But if you don't treat your people right, then you will find all of the work that they needed to do. Because the work that I need to do isn't like optional. We're trying to build buildings. Those buildings still need to get built.
Yes, indeed.
And if she's already juggling 1 million balls and then I leave, who you think got to juggle all them balls? Her. So now she's going to be juggling 2 million balls.
Hello.
So anyway, so that's enough of that. So I went to Orlando because this weekend was the boyfriend's birthday. Yay. And so this was a funny evolution. Because I had been asking him for months, what did you want to do for your birthday? Because when it's my birthday, I choose exactly where I want to go. We sort of make a joint decision for our anniversary. But for his birthday, I'm like, where do you want to go?
Okay.
Yes, you are the slave in this relationship. but that's like in the bedroom and for play purposes. Other than that, I need an equal.
That's for play.
Right. But for real, you need to make a decision. So he was like, I just want to go somewhere, by the water or, and do all of this bondage stuff. So, baby, he will write a 4-page letter full of bondage stuff. And I will wake up to these messages and I'd be like,
leave that boy alone. We love that boy. He's just as detailed as someone else.
I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm going to keep on with my story. Okay. He started his own company now, working for the same agency that he was before, and he had to do a training in Orlando. So he was like, well, we could just stay in Orlando. He was like, it went from, I'm not sure what I want to do with my birthday till I've booked my airfare to not come back from Orlando till Monday. And so I was like, well, I guess I'm going to Orlando this week. Okay. So when I got there, and again, in an effort not to rock the boat, because there is a lot of work to do. So, and I have already made it known this whole year ahead of time that July of 2024 is going to be a rough month for me, for y'all, because I am going to be gone for a full 2.5 weeks. Full 2.5 weeks. I will be leaving September 30th and will not be back in the office September 30th. June 30th and not back in the office until like the 17th or the 20th of July. And then I'm planning to take a little fun alone trip at the last weekend of the month to go to Dory, but that's separate. Anyway, so I was like, all right, so we didn't do the show because the time of the show I was on a plane. So I flew down to Orlando. It was a connecting flight. Had to fly through Atlanta, but everything went beautifully. All of my fears, I'm always nervous about a late evening flight and a connecting flight, but we got there on time. I had my connection in plenty of time. We got there on time. My luggage arrived on time. My luggage wasn't beat up too bad. They destroyed poor Azamek's luggage. Every time he goes on a trip, one of the wheels don't work, or now they punched a big hole in the side of the luggage and some shit. Baby, they ruined his luggage. But so I got there and I had gotten this. First of all, I had enough points on Southwest, so my flight was free.
Good.
So I was happy about that. And then when I got there, we had used Hertz to book the car.
Okay.
And I didn't really pay attention to it, but the low rate that I got was because it was for an electric vehicle. And I've never driven an electric vehicle, but I assume they would be like most other vehicles. But they were like, oh, so what do you want, a Tesla, a Polestar, or a Chevy Bolt? I was like, well, first of all, a Chevy Bolt is out of the question. So
a Chevy Bolt is as big as his damn mouse.
Exactly. So that's out of the question. I wasn't really familiar with the Polestar, and I was like, well, do I have to? She was like, yeah. And then I was like, well, is there going to be places to charge around here? Because, I don't want to be stuck in the middle of somewhere and can't get nowhere. So I ended up in the Tesla. I've never driven a Tesla, but me,
you got to pick up,
baby. So you've seen that TikTok where they talk about your homosexual audacity.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Well, my homosexual audacity says that I can do anything, even drive a Tesla. So I was like, I got in the car and I'm like, pop the trunk. Put my luggage in the trunk, which was pretty small because it was the Tesla 3. So, she sat low to the ground. It was like a Batmobile.
Yeah, okay, all right, because I like the one with the little hump, the one that little.
I don't like them at all. I don't like the style. The coupe, the sedans sit low to the ground, and that SUV is ugly as shit.
It's got a little hump on it. I think it's all right. I mean, it's not something I want to purchase, but it's all right.
Definitely not for $65,000, but that's another story. So anyway, so I put my luggage in the trunk, close the trunk, sit in the car, and I'm looking because I do want to get an electric vehicle, but I've never looked at a Tesla. I want like a Volvo. Well, you know what I really want is that Genesis GX60. So that's my baby, the one where you press the start button and the crystal turn over in the front, and that's the drive stick or whatever. But anyway, so I'm looking at, and the Tesla, everything is on the screen. It ain't no buttons or nothing on the side there. So, baby, I sat in that car for 25 minutes trying to figure out how to turn the bitch on.
Did you step on the brake?
They give you a little instruction thing, but first of all, the screen, my eyes are old. So I need screen brightness.
Well, it's so high because the damn screen in the Tesla's like this damn big. Like
the screen is huge, but it was very dark in the car, and it wasn't super bright in the thing, and everything was on that. And so it gives you a little icon that says you step on the thing. And first I was like, okay, this card key. I was like, why the fuck I got to touch the card key to some random spot on the side of the car in order to get it to work? Because they didn't have a fob for that one. They had like an actual key card, like you're checking into a hotel. And then so you're supposed to put the key card in a very specific place and then step on the gas and then get her to go. And then of course, so since I hadn't turned the car on, it's like 99 degrees in Orlando, and I'm sitting in this car sweating. And, so finally I get to the hotel. That's fine. The hotel's fine. We were only there for a night. That was a hotel that his job was paying for. Then next day, we checked into our Airbnb. And so I'll show this to the kids real quick. So this is what we were in this one, I think. And no one really cares what the other things look like. But the reason that we got her is this.
Come on, for the covered pool.
And so these are all townhouses. So the pool essentially.
Does each one of them have one, or is that the pool for like shared amongst the houses?
Bitch, this pool is 10 feet by 10 feet. This is just my backyard. So there's a pool there. There's a pool there. Each one of these houses had its own pool in the back, covered pool. So this was a development. So each one was, I'm assuming, because I didn't look at other ones, but each one of these is identical, and the pool was heated. So that was where we stayed for the weekend. Okay. So I just have a couple of notes.
Okay.
All right. So there was a Waffle House close to where we lived, and Mrs. Sugar Shep said, I had the Genesis this weekend, and baby, it was everything. Mrs. Sugar Snap, which Genesis did you have? Was it the GX60, 70, or 80? Because the 80 is just like big as hell. And, I still feel like I live in the city in DC, so I still need something that I can get in and out of parking spaces. Like even the vehicle that you have is verging on two.
It's right there on the edge of like.
And Azamak has a fucking Pathfinder, and I'd be like, girl, this is too much.
But listen, but I don't know why you got rid of this. My favorite car was a damn Murano. Baby, don't get rid. No. I love it. No, I was so mad.
Well, I don't think we ever told you this, but like a month ago, we went out to dinner in Alexandria, and we drove into this parking garage. And girl, we were driving, and all of a sudden, all we heard was this crash and scrape and shattering glass. Bitch, the ceiling was low, and that Pathfinder caught the ceiling, fucked his sunroof up, and he had to put the car in the shop and had insurance replace, not the whole roof, but like scratch and buff and replace the sunroof and all that shit. So I was like, yeah, girl, I'm glad with this little Nissan Rogue that I got. It was a lot. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so there was a Waffle House. So we went there Saturday morning. So these kids were in the Waffle House arguing over comments on somebody's Instagram live. Apparently, one or both of them is cheating or has cheated. And then while they're sitting there, so me and Azamek are sitting here. They're sitting at the little low counter across from us.
Okay.
So they're eating while arguing, but not loudly arguing, but it was loud enough for me to hear. And then he said, "It's okay, you dumb bitch." And then I'm like, "Let me just eat my." But what was really distressing to me was that their kid was sitting between them, and the kid was like not more than 3. Well, he wasn't 3 because he wasn't fully verbal, so he was just like baby talking mostly, some words, but mostly baby talking and playing on his iPad. But I was like, could we all not argue like this in front of the child? So, but you know,
listen, people, yeah.
My second note, it was Azamek's birthday, and whenever we do something for Azamek's birthday, he always want to be out and about. Like when we went to Cancun last year, right? Dominion, was looking forward to 4 days of rest and relaxation, just chilling in Cancun, eating this, food that we paid for and drinking all this liquor that we paid for and having sex on the second story of our thing with its personal plunge pool and the outdoor shower and all of that and going to the beach and chilling. And here come Azamek like, look at this brochure. It's like, okay, we could do this on Friday in the morning, and then we could do this on Friday in the afternoon, and then Saturday we could do this all-day excursion, and climb the pyramid and dig into the Remember I told you that time when we did the underground river and I accidentally swallowed a mouthful of that underground river water? That shit gave me diarrhea. It was that time.
Now we're in Mexico.
But it wasn't me drinking a drink. It was like you were in this underground river, but they didn't make you snorkel. But
you said it was real tight.
The depth changed, so you're just literally walking on the bottom. I mean, they give you a life preserver, but you're literally walking on the bottom, and then it drops by like a foot. So not enough for you to drown because you sort of bob back up, but I still went down and swallowed a mouthful of river water, and then I had like mild diarrhea the next day. But anyway, so Saturday Azamek is like, we should go to Universal Studios. I was like, shit, I have had a week. I have had a very weeky week. I was just looking forward to 2 days of hanging out in this pool, maybe going to get something to eat. I had even not really connected with Volt or Isu because I was like, this is your birthday. This is us. This is, you want to have, you to give me this 4-page letter, all this shit that you want to do, So,
giving you a 4-page letter. And
I sealed it with a kiss. Exactly. So I was like, we're going to do all of this stuff, and now you want to go to Universal Studios. It's like, all right. And that bitch was $200 a ticket, but he paid for it though. He said that was, even though it was his birthday, that was his treat for me.
Baby, listen, I remember planning when I was dating somebody and we went to Universal, we went to Disney. Listen, we split that trip up. I said, listen, somebody get the plane tickets, and the hotel, and then somebody would get the tickets into the park because that's what we did. Baby, listen, it is not cheap at all. And we got the combo pass to do like the Universal Studios and the park and everything. It was
right.
I enjoyed my
Lola. Oh no, the pyramids were definitely worth it. We didn't actually climb the pyramids, but we saw all of that stuff. I guess actually we did climb a couple of pyramids because we went to Tulum, so it's like that whole park of pyramids. You didn't climb the big one because they weren't allowing you to climb the big one, but some of the other smaller ones and some of the other ruins we could. And so it wasn't that I didn't have a good time. It's just that when I was conceiving of what I was going to do for this 5 days in Cancun, my vision had only extended as far as laying out on the beach.
Listen.
And eating at each one of those restaurants that was on property.
I get it. Because listen, it ain't nothing. There is nothing like enjoying fully all of the loungingness
yes.
of a resort. And even
all of the amenities. Like I need to, if there's 5 beaches, I need to lay out on every one of those beaches. If there are 15 restaurants, I need to eat at least 3/4 of them for the weekend. And I need to go to enough bars to have a favorite bartender at least one of those bars. So we made it to Universal Studios, and I had been to the one in Hollywood, but I hadn't been to the one here. And I was never big on Harry Potter to begin with. And then once she revealed herself to be transphobic, I sort of like, but you can't avoid Harry Potter at fucking Universal Studios, Florida. So I tried to get into it. So I even wanted to go and do like the sorting hat to see which house I was going to be in. And then like the black girl was like, she listened to me. She let me go on. So you think you might be a Hufflepuff or a Flippity Bloops or whatever the fuck they are? I was like, I don't know and don't really care, but it's his birthday. I thought it would be cool to get a picture with the animated hat that says you are House Gryffindor or whatever the Slytherin or whatever the fuck it says. And then she listened to this whole thing for like a minute. She was like, that's in Hollywood. And I was like, I couldn't help but laugh because I was like, all right, bitch. All right, girl. I know you got to make your job exciting. And we were game for it. And I wasn't pissed off about it at all. But I was just like, oh, okay. So there was that. And we rode a couple of rides. But all of the rides at Universal Studio are essentially the same. They have a cute setup. Mm-hmm. And it's you like walking through the maze, they're telling you the story, whatever is going to happen. So the first one we went on actually was the Transformers ride, and that actually ended up being the best because you're on a mission with Bumblebee and whoever the blue Transformer is against the Decepticons and Megatron, obviously. So you get in this car and you're like, what was it, like 8 or 10 people in the car, and then you go on, what is this?
Was this an actual roller coaster, or was it like
it's inside? So all of these things are inside these big buildings that are fairly nondescript from the outside. Like the Transformers room just looked like a hangar. The one we rode, what was it? What were the little? They're not gremlins, but the in Harry Potter, the little the bankers.
Yeah, they were. I don't know what they were called, but yeah, I remember what you're talking about. But I was saying
Grimneers, bankers, or whatever the fuck.
Was it a like a virtual thing, like a video thing, or was it like the actual?
Well, mostly they give you glasses for the ride, so there is a 3D aspect of it, but they're all sort of the same. You get into this car of a roller coaster ride that usually seats, I don't know, anywhere between 8 and 10 people. Right. And, shit pops out of the wall or whatever. Now, the Transformer ride was actually the most fun because even though a lot of it was like 3D and screens projected on you, like the way the shit was, like you'd be sitting there and Megatron would be like, I got you. And you would be like, shit.
Right.
And there were a couple of times, like, like this, imagine you're actually flying along with the team and like Megatron falls into this building. And so now the helicopter that you're in is about to fall off of the side of the building. So they tilt the whole car up and you were leaning down, looking to a projection. So baby, that actually got you a little nervous, but all of the rides were kind of the same, the screens and you're riding in a thing. The one that felt the most low effort to me was the Fast and the Furious one. First of all, Vin Diesel's normal acting is very low key. For whatever they paid him to do his part, because they have like these pre-filmed parts, like little vignettes. Whatever they paid him for his little vignette for this Universal Studio ride was too much because this baby was like, yes, we are all family. Yes, Michelle, you are my sister. I hope that we all get out of this safe.
Oh my
Please.
God. Oh my
Thank
God.
you all so much for being part of our family.
It
The
could.
Rock,
It
The
could.
Rock was The Rock. So, Tyrese was doing the
Well,
most.
on the, yeah, he's a, okay.
The only one who seemed like excited, well, he didn't even seem excited to be there. The Rock seemed the most excited to be there. Even Ludacris was like, this is so much fun. I can't wait for you all to join me at the fun party in Ibiza. This was like very low effort put into it. So that was that.
Did you get on the Mummy ride? That was one of my favorite ones. Is this still open? The Mummy ride?
Yes, and that one was there was nothing about it that really stood out to me. Because some of these rides have been there for like 30 years because they had skinny Brendan Fraser on the ride. So I was like, this ride is at least 25 years old.
So it was amazing to me when I first got on it because it did that whole thing that it stopped and spun you around in the fire. And I was
yes. Bitch, I get dizzy very easily. So I was almost over the whole fucking thing after getting off of that. So like after that, I was like, I'm glad we got to walk for a minute because I was not expecting that shit to do. No, it wasn't that one. The one that spun around like that really got me together was the fucking Men in Black one.
I didn't do that one. I didn't get
that shit almost made me sick.
The Harry Potter ride almost made me sick. The one where the 4 cars, they put the glasses on it and they're like flying and it's the whole virtual reality.
Is that the one where you're in the sidecar, whoever the big giant is, like his protector?
Yes. No, not in the sidecar. This is literally a virtual reality one. The sidecar one is an actual roller coaster. I didn't get on that one.
We didn't get on that one either.
But this is one that was inside, and it was like like the four people in a car. You had to put the glasses on, and it kind of rocked you up and down. You saw the visuals, and it took you through a fucking cavern of spiders. And I was like, I might watch the fuck out of it. But that got me dizzy because it was doing too much. But yeah, it got me dizzy.
Now, I will say that another good one was the Skull. Hey, best friend. Another good one was the Kong Skull Island because they had this huge. Now, a lot of that was sort of animated, screens. But the way they had the screens done, it went like from one side all the way to the other side. So it felt like really sort of immersive. And then they had this one place where they had built this huge life-size animatronic Kong. So it was like the skull, the shoulders, and the upper part of the chest. So that was nice too. Overall, we had a good time, and we saw most of it before it started raining. But it was Florida rain, so it was a torrential downpour for like 20-25 minutes, and then it was cool for a minute. Then all that shit started drying, and then it heated up. But by that time, we was like over it, and I got like 19,000 steps that day. So I was like, "You ready to go? Please say you're ready to go, please." But you are ready to go, and he was. So we're good. The last note that I have, I love Southwest, right?
Lord, please don't say nothing bad about Southwest.
I don't have anything bad to say about Southwest because I wasn't paying attention and I needed to book. My flight was at 6:50 and I was busy that Sunday night at 7. I don't know where we were. Oh, we were just getting back from Universal Studios. So I didn't check into my flight until 7 o'clock. So I was 10 minutes late to check in. And bitch, I got B55.
Listen.
And I can't deal with, because I don't have anything that they can check, because the one bag that I have has like my CPAP and my laptop and all that. And there's no way I'm letting you toss that shit around underneath the plane. No. So since I didn't pay anything for the flight, I upgraded to A1. And bitch, I was I was supposed to be the first bitch on the plane. I was A1, but there were like 10 people in wheelchairs ahead of me.
They all with the Florida, bitch. They all trying to get, what the hell?
Right. And the flight attendant was a rattler, so we connected off of that, and like the white people was looking at us like we crazy. I was like, it ain't no worse than you hoes talk about you going to the Ohio University or whatever the fuck. So
yeah.
So the one note that I have about Southwest is like, listen, I am a person of substance. I'm not going to judge anybody else, right? But because I'm a person of substance, that's also why I paid to be in the A's, because I need to be able to choose my seat. I don't want to be.
The upgrade wasn't that expensive. It was like $30, I think it was.
Well, it's $20 if you upgrade when you book the ticket. If you upgrade like the day before when you check in, it was $50. But since I hadn't paid anything for the flight, $50 seemed fine.
Okay.
And it was a direct flight, so it was fine. That's why I did that. So I don't have to worry about where I'm sitting on the plane. Because there's nothing worse than sitting in your seat and seeing some big person coming down the aisle, and it was like, please don't try to sit next to me. Please do not try to sit next to me.
Listen.
Don't sit next to me. And listen, I'm not fat shaming. I am not. I'm just saying that I'm a broad-shouldered babe, and two broad-shouldered babe need either a whole seat between them or a skinny babe in between them. So is me in the window, because I'm always in the window seat.
I like the window seat.
You can't be a broad-shouldered babe sitting right next to me, and our whole flanks are touching the entire trip. So I don't care for that. And so my note was, why be big and late? So that was my note.
I feel judgment.
You shouldn't feel judged, because I wasn't judging you. All right, so I've got a few tickety talks.
Okay, come on, let's do it.
Where am I? Okay, there we are. Can I do the full screen? I think so.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Morning.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, and coffee.
Hey, bitch, what the fuck you think you're doing? Bitch, that's my breakfast. What you?
What you talking about? This shit nasty. What the fuck is this? Who eats this? What's this, like twisted bread or some bullshit?
It's a croissant sandwich. Why did you take it?
I'm definitely unappreciative of this. What made these need to ask me?
Wow, so you must got a long day at work today, huh? You might need to get going.
Work? What the fuck is that?
You know, the place you go to. The place you go. You done? It's the place you go to make money. How much coffee is in that cup?
Nigga, I know what a job is. It's where people without vaginas go to make money.
No, everybody goes there to make. Where's your Uber?
Uber? What I need an Uber for?
To take your ass home.
Home, nigga. I am home. You smashed. I'm here now.
Bitch, that ain't how this work. That ain't how any of this works.
Why you keep bringing up work? You got to go?
You need to leave.
I got news though. I'm pregnant. So I mean, what we gonna do about that?
I got news too. There's Plan B in the coffee.
No. Hold on. This is what the part that kills me with that. You gotta listen. Baby, it was this fucking soap opera music that did it for me.
Oh Lord.
When he was saying, "Ew, bitch, what the fuck you think you're doing?"
He said there's Plan B in the coffee. Lord have mercy.
All right, so here's the next one. Let me share the screen.
These TV girls killing y'all. And the thighs don't match. Well. Turn to your neighbor and say,
Child, she looks like a fucking character from a Disney animation.
Yeah, like that's a whole caricature of like somebody. Like, what the? I don't know about that one.
I feels bad for her.
Okay.
All right, so here is the last one. Let me hit the. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay. I think I need to hit refresh on this. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, Aquaman there.
Hey, nigga, what the fuck? How you got this number?
Man, Wonder Woman gave me this shit a long time ago.
What?
Oh my God, Diana, don't tell me you fucking villains now, bro.
Yup.
You fucking no bum ass villains. Are you out your mind?
Yes, you
Then
are.
why you saying he got our number from you?
Cause he's fucking lying, nigga. He a villain. What the
She
fuck?
do got a point there about mine. Robin, shut the fuck up. Hey, she do got a point there, bro. Don't call up here lying on your dick.
I ain't fucking lying. I had that bitch folded like fresh laundry.
Nigga, what? Ain't nobody fucking
Bitch,
following
I
me.
had your ass folded like a napkin at a 5-star
You
restaurant.
definitely lying now.
Call that shit origami.
Dick don't fold me. I fold dick.
That shit sound
It
painful.
was. But I like that
No,
shit.
you
Bitch, how
didn't.
you gonna tell me what I
Because I
like?
didn't fuck you.
Yes,
You never had
you
You
did.
mean folding in the on soft
All
floor?
right, so you ain't never fucking nigga named David?
What kind of dumbass question? Of course, nigga. That's half the fucking world.
Bitch, I'm talking about the David from 2 months ago.
You know how many motherfuckers are named David?
Bitch got a body count like
Damn,
John Wayne
bitch, how
Gacy.
many- I'm talking about the David you said looked like Yahya Abdul Mateen. That David.
The second?
Bitch, the first ain't famous.
Yeah. My bad. I did throw in some ass.
Damn it, Diana, you're fucking gross. Fucking villains
Shut
for
the
real.
fuck up. You fuck your villains all the
Bitch,
time.
I would never. I stand for fucking justice.
You be standing up in Catwoman too. What about that?
I mean, that's different though. She not no like villain per se. She more like an anti-hero.
Okay, what about Harley Quinn?
I mean, she an anti-hero like too. Like, so she really ain't like a villain no more.
Poison Ivy?
I mean, she's just a vegan. That don't make her a villain.
Hey, Aquaman.
Baby,
Yeah.
I when
Yeah.
he said Yaya David Mateen the second, and no, he said Yaya David Mateen, and she was like, the second, bitch, the first ain't famous.
Listen, he does some really good, some funny shit.
Baby, that shit, those things that he does have me in tears. That's the same dude that did the one where Superman needs 3 or 4 Justice Leaguers to help him go jump Lex Luthor for sliding in Lois's DMs, and Flash is like, you never fucked her, did you?
I like his stuff, or her stuff. I don't know if it's guy or girl.
I think that's a dude. Yeah.
But I also like what's the other guy? I don't know his name is, but the one who's like playing with my time. Quit playing with my time. You're playing with my time. That his whole page is listen, them two, they're hilarious for me. They're absolutely hilarious for me.
Well, let's get into these stories real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, real quick. Has anybody been watching Baddies East? Because if so, you may have noticed a few new faces on there. And one of them is probably Sky. And if you don't know, Sky is officially a member of Baddies East, and which was reported earlier in this year.
She looks exactly what I thought she would look like.
So Natalie Nunn is the executive producer of Baddies, and so it's not unheard of for other reality stars to appear on the show. In fact, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta alum Tommy Lee was on the recent season of Baddies West, and this is Baddies East specifically that I was talking about. So apparently, Sky is already very much involved in the drama that has taken place since filming began. It was reported that Sky actually assaulted a fellow cast member, Woe Vicky, and then the consequence of Woe Vicky decided to fight back with a lawsuit because she thinks Krishan Rock set up the attack. Now, listen, if y'all know who Krishan Rock is, between Krishan Rock and Blueface, the young lady with the no tooth that's knocked out of her mouth and the tattoo. Listen, I don't understand that type of love. I don't want to understand that type of love, but baby, I that's who she is. But anyway, so Sky's departure from Black Ink Crew, which is where I originally knew who she was or got to know her at that particular point, it was controversial. Fans took issue with a certain scene when she was on the show that she filmed with her youngest son, Dez. She accused him of stealing from her, and then he denied doing so, and it resulted in them having a heated exchange. Now, before security could get involved during that chaotic moment, Sky had put her hands on Dez and told him that she wished he was never born. Now, fans took to social media to slam Sky for her actions, and some called for her to be fired from the show. Producers decided to suspend her, and she's been off the show ever since. So later on, she told Instagram followers that she decided not to return because she wasn't happy with how things were handled. Baby, she was originally, as I mentioned, on the Black Ink Crew. In New York with Caesar, who she called her brother. This was 2023. This was probably about almost 10 years ago, or give or take. almost 10 years ago. But baby, if you've seen that scene that I just mentioned in the Black Ink Crew where she's talking to her son, listen, I'm not necessarily for people putting their hands on each other. And I know I'm probably the last person to talk about that because I have had those experiences. But I also look at it from a female perspective. When I tell you this young, it was her son, but baby, them hands was flying fast and furious. Miss Sky is about that life. So when she listen, and you said she looks right about what you think she looks like. Oh, and she's gonna change that up probably next week. She's gonna have a whole different hairstyle, whole different look, whole different everything, because that's what she does. But anyway, if any of you are watching Baddies East, look and you probably have seen Sky already on the show. Listen, y'all know where she came from, and there's already some mess going on with her, and like I said, with Woe Vicky. So
this is what she looks like.
That is Sky.
And that is exactly what I expected her to look like.
But actually, this picture right here of her is the softest I've seen her look. And it's over time. She's not as angry. She was very angry.
This is soft.
I'm telling you. Dominion, I'm telling you, this is, if you go back to the Black Ink Crew days and you look at her then and you look at specifically that scene, she was rough. She was hard, like just a hard. But anyway, so from Madame Noir, many of you may have heard bits and pieces of this. And thanks, a shout out to Spill It Boy we were just talking and he kind of put this little nugget in my lap. There was this video that was going around with Halle Bailey and her boyfriend, and in the video she's in the background and the boyfriend is talking and she makes an appearance where she kind of walks past in the background behind him, and it looks as if Haley is is showing a baby bump. And so it became this real big thing because on top of everything, people were trying to figure out whether she's pregnant or not. And they have all these theories about Disney and what she did and what she didn't do and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, her sister, Chloe, decided to jump in it. And her sister was basically, standing up for her saying, hey, my sister is my sister. I'm going to stand with her, whether she's pregnant or not. I'm paraphrasing all of this stuff. But anyway, Funky Dineva, if y'all remember her, who was once with T.S. Madison, also with now, she is on the TGIF co-host on the Fox channel. She's talking about this particular video and this particular scene. And the fans and people are very upset because she has been saying some very disparaging and unwanted comments about Chloe's appearance. Now, on August 23rd, on the Fox Soul series, Funky Dineva harshly criticized Chloe's public move to shut down rumors about her sister, Haley, being pregnant. Now, the commentator, Funky Dineva, whose name is Quentin Latham, spoke negatively about Chloe embracing her sensual side and made nasty comments for her. He said, and I quote, "I don't like her. Chloe Bailey is so goddamn lame to me." This is what he was saying to the co-stars, Claudia Jordan, Al Reynolds. He said, first of all, girl, you are Miss Preppy Ashley from the suburbs. Then you came out being all promiscuous and shit, and now you're trying to be a gangster. None of it is fucking believable. And he said, I'm probably going to catch a lot of backlash for this, but without makeup, she ain't cute. She never should have been shown on that camera with that fat ass face without no makeup. And Funky Dineva's hate-filled rant just went on and on and on and on from there.
Yeah.
Now, again, he went on to call her inauthentic, called her out in a couple different ways, and also about her record sales as well. So now all of Chloe's fans on X, or formerly Twitter, caught his shade, and then they rallied behind her and against Funky Dineva with the quickness. So fans have trashed the TGIF host, Funky Dineva, for his appalling and mean-spirited comments on a woman's appearance. And people were also confused regarding why the pop culture critic was so bothered by Chloe defending her sister. What is that? I don't understand that. But again, Funky Dineva has made some very questionable choices just in a lot of different things. And so This is probably another one of those, what go down in history today, another one of those things where it's a questionable choice. So
yeah, when she first came out, I was like, okay, this is cute. And, I liked her, sort of style. Like, my hair is laid. Like, it's like, okay, that was cute.
Right.
But then it sort of went off on a tangent, and it felt like, so now, listen, I know we sort of talk about people on this show, but
we do.
keep the criticism cute because, everyone that you think ain't cute, lots of those people think you ain't cute neither. So
absolutely, listen, absolutely. Which is why I tell people all the time, baby, if you don't toot your own horn, baby, ain't nobody else gonna toot it for you. So what you think you might look like, or what you think you don't look like, baby, you better figure out which side you on your side or anybody else's.
Right. And Chloe Bailey is following a well-worn path by young female stars.
Yes.
They are almost always shaped by forces outside of themselves when they're children and teens. And once they get old enough, they want to experience their womanhood. We saw it with Janet Jackson. We saw it with Britney Spears. Hell, we even saw it with Beyonce. From when she was with Destiny's Child in the early days to once she became a solo artist, and it was a lot more sensual. I mean, can you imagine Beyonce from Destiny Child days talking about sucking dick and getting her back broke, talking about riding surfboards and shit, so that's like a very well-worn path for young women, especially if they've grown up in the industry. That actually happens with a lot of women, because unlike men who are sort of encouraged to explore their sexuality within very narrow heterosexual confines, mind you, but they're at least explored to encourage it, where women, regardless of how famous you are generally not encouraged to explore their sexuality at home. But then they asses go away to college, or because, baby, I remember freshman year, some of those girls, I was like, yeah, your father was clearly very strict with you, because, baby, you have zero impulse control, and you about to be thrown out of this university because you shown up to class drunk one too many times.
Baby, I looked at today. I was at the Black Degree Factory and looked at a young lady who walked past me. She had on a tube top dress that was made out of t-shirt material, no bra, and it looked like she had no panties on, because the split of the tube was almost up to her waist from the side. So her whole little ass cheek was out. Now listen, let me be clear. She had that athletic body where I'm telling you, like that whole, like, I'm a track star running, that ass that sat out like pow, 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 like nothing wasn't moving. But it was like, baby, if a good breeze come by on that back flap, baby, your entire ass is gonna be out. And I'm sitting there looking like, do you have on panties? Do you have on a thong? And you sitting in this cafeteria on these seats. Let me get you a napkin here, girl, and put this on this seat here, because I know your whole hoo-ha done touched this seat here. So let me just,
I be wondering that when I see women with these short ass dresses. I was like, you just sat your whole, I mean, even if you've got on like a thong or whatever, I was like, you just sat your whole ass down on this metal bench.
Listen, and shout out to my Grace, because she was actually with me today. We went to have lunch. She was just like, she said, now wait a minute, baby. You ain't even, when you sat down, you ain't even pulled the back of it down to try to cover your behind. She was like, some of these young girls just sit down, the dress just slide up around their hips, and they just sit there talking. I was like, listen, that is not a part of my stilo. I don't know nothing about that being that young lady thing. But what I do know is, baby, her whole ass was out. And when she walked past, everybody was looking at me. But she was just as calm, cool, and confident. And I said, okay, well, baby, listen, that's what you like. That's what if that's what you like, I'm glad you love it. We'll figure it out as time goes on. But in any event, speaking in other news, I was looking at an article, I found an article the other day in the Daily Mail about Michael Jordan, how he has amassed a $3.5 billion fortune after his Hornet sale, making him NBA's richest NBA player ever. Now, his sale of the Charlotte Hornets reportedly took his net worth around $3.5 billion, making him the richest basketball player of all time. The 60-year-old who used to...
This is not a good picture of him.
Well, I mean, listen. In reality, time has caught up to Mr. Jordan.
Okay.
So that's what, in my opinion. But anyway, so the 60-year-old who is a 5-time MVP and took his team to 6 NBA titles, he relinquished his majority stake in the Hornets for $3 billion. Now, Jordan sold control of the team to a consortium led by Gabe Plotkin and Rick Schnall, but the Hornets said he has retained a minority stake in the NBA team. Now, according to Bloomberg, whose billionaires index is calculating Jordan's fortune for the first time, he is believed to have kept less than 5% of his stake after flogging 65%. Now, he's widely considered one of the greatest NBA players in history. He's built a commercial empire since he signed a deal with Nike in the 1980s. His first deal with Nike, signed in 1984, was worth $2.5 million over 5 years. Not long after that, the first Air Jordan shoes came out. By 2020, it was claimed that that Jordan had made more than $1 billion from his partnership with Nike, while Jordan reportedly earned $256 million from Nike in 2022 alone. The Bloomberg report company filings show that last year, Jordan Brand brought in $5.1 billion in revenue, nearly 11% of Nike's total sales. Now, other athletes have struck similar deals in recent times. Under Armour announced a long-term deal with icon Steph Curry. And his share was included like $75 million. LeBron James has also built $1 billion fortune through endorsements, investments, and the Spring Hill Company, his video production company. Bloomberg puts LeBron's fortune at around $1.5 billion, while Magic Johnson is reportedly worth $620 million. Other estimates put Junior Bridgman's fortune at around $600 million, with both Shaquille O'Neal and Vinnie Johnson said to have $400 million. So
it's crazy to me that Magic Johnson is not a billionaire, considering all the things with his name on them.
Right. That's my thing. But then the other part of that is, and I remember Magic Johnson said this a long time ago. He said, listen, he said, you might be rich now, but the key is, how long can you stay rich? How long can you keep this money? What are you doing in the long term? So, baby, I'm gonna give Magic all the credit for that one, because it was he dropped some knowledge on the kids, and he's also doing what he says he's done. Because even at this particular point, he ain't played basketball in what now, over 30 years, maybe?
Right.
He's still worth $600 million? Okay. Listen.
Right. I mean, I'm definitely not mad at him, and it's fine. For some people, the amassment of wealth is not an end, a goal in and of itself.
Yeah. So speaking of that, and also because we've been having or hearing a lot about people breaking up and all these different messy divorces, well, Real Housewives of Atlanta star Eva Marcel settles her divorce from Michael Sterling and declines support and gets to keep a few other things. Now, according to Radar Online, they've obtained a settlement agreement signed on August 3rd, where Eva filed for divorce from Michael on March 29th. Now, the date of the marriage was listed as October 7th. She said the marriage was irretrievably broken without any hope for a reconciliation. The couple shares 3 minor children, Michael Sterling Jr., Maverick Sterling, and Marley Sterling. Eva had Marley with her ex, Kevin McCall. Now, per the deal, both parties waived their right to alimony or spousal support. In addition, Eva didn't ask Michael to pay for her child support. Eva did not ask for Michael to pay for her child support. Records show that the two both pull in over $30,000 per month in income. Now, the parties agree that each has ample income and assets to support the children in their respective homes. Accordingly, the parties agree that neither shall pay direct child support to the other. They worked this out in a private custody agreement. Both were awarded their own respective bank and retirement accounts. Boom, bang, bang, boom. I don't know if this is as a result of a prenup, which is not necessarily something that was mentioned earlier. But baby, when I say this is one of the nicest, neatest, amicable or seemingly amicable divorces, baby, it was like you go your way, I go mine. You keep the kids, you keep the house, and that's it. We all done. So listen, I'm here for it. Congrats on the amicable separation, Eva and your ex-husband. So that's what I can say. Having a time scrolling online and bumped into a page on Vlad TV about Iggy Azalea. Now, Iggy Azalea was kicked off stage in Saudi Arabia after her bodysuit ripped during a performance. Now, she headlined the esports event Gamers 8 in Saudi Arabia on August 27th, where she suffered a bit of a wardrobe malfunction. Now, while performing her 2014 track Goddess, which I don't even have no idea what the hell that song is, she squatted down and it led her latex bodysuit ripping all the way up her leg to her thigh. Now, she tried to conceal the split by first rolling onto her leg that suffered the wardrobe malfunction, and then she was handed a towel to cover up. Now, Iggy later took to Twitter to reveal that Saudi Arabian authorities were angry and kicked her off the stage. Now, a Twitter follower asked, well, they really wouldn't let you just, change pants? And she responded, she said, I did, but I also said, ladies, make some noise. It's a woman's world. And apparently that sent the authorities over the edge. She said, laugh out loud, I'm cool. I just didn't want the fans to be sad or angry at the show organizers because it wasn't their control or mine. It was the police at the side of the stage. But darling, you're in Saudi Arabia and you're going to say...
Whatever, girl. Okay, bye.
What is that saying about know your room, know your audience, girl?
Right.
Like, okay, come on. And
Honey, that's what happens when you wear cheap latex.
And then the other thing is, if you see Iggy Azalea's body, baby, why you got all this latex? Like, that was already, I'm sure that the Saudi Arabian officials were already like, baby, what you got on? What the hell is this?
Right. This outfit was already a bit much for that audience, I'm sure. And they were just looking for a reason.
But, yeah. But anyway.
But I'm sure she probably still got her check, so she good.
She got to go. She listen. At that particular point, it sounded like it was best for her to get out of there, whether she got that check or not. But that's just my
right.
But anyway, this last article in the New York Post, a luxury hotel had to apologize to a family for a dessert that was presented in front of kids. Now, this luxury Italian hotel was forced to apologize after it covered a bikini-clad woman in chocolate as part of a dessert buffet, with a teenage girl among the guests left with a sour taste from that quote-unquote disgusting display. Now, Federico Mazzieri said he and his 14-year-old daughter were staying at the Voi Colonna village in Sardinia when a female employee was slathered in chocolate syrup and made to lie on a table of dessert offerings for at least 30 minutes. The HR manager shared a photo in LinkedIn. Now, the photo that I saw, they blurred out her face or whatever. I kind of saw what they were going for. It just looked kind of messy and sloppy to me, but that's just my opinion. But
it looked like she was just dirty.
Yeah, like she just looked messy and sloppy to me. But anyway, the HR manager shared a photo and he said he wrote about his and his daughter's disgust at the hotel treating the female body as an object. Now, he says, last night after a beautiful day in which many people worked hard to ensure that the many guests had a carefree day, I was speechless to see this scene. And that's when he showed the picture. He said the guests expressed instant dismay at the sight, which his teenage daughter found, quote unquote, disgusting. He said, how can such behavior exist where the body of a woman, an employee, is considered equal to a dish just to satisfy someone's wandering eyes? When he asked to speak with local hotel management, the staff reportedly brushed him off and claimed the dish was actually a chocolate statue. After his post sparked outrage,
hey, bitch, the statue is breathing.
After his post sparked outrage, the hotel responded by offering, quote unquote, offering you and your family, in particularly your daughter, as well as our customers, the most sincere apologies on behalf of all management. They also said, we deeply regret the incident. We're taking immediate action to address this incident constructively and to ensure that no customer should feel offended in any way in the future. Everybody,
it was definitely tacky. I'm not sure why they would think that was okay for just like your regular run-of-the-mill event. Now, maybe if they were having some sort of an adult themed,
I can definitely see that.
Sure.
And even if they were to have her there, I think that possibly just covering her up in a like even in a bodysuit or a catsuit of some sort could have given the same visuals possibly, or it could have been a painted on bodysuit or something. But hey, everybody makes choices, and some of them are bad sometimes. So.
Somebody thought that they were going to turn the kids out.
And they probably would have and could have at any other event. But at this particular hotel, at that particular point in time, for that regular day, yeah, it might not have been the best of things.
Yeah. So, only thing got turned out was you of your job.
Yeah, that's where we at. So.
Well, all right, kids, let's get into this beautiful bean footage.
Yes, indeed.
it's been fun as always.
Always, always, always.
And forever.
I am going to hey Nichelle, hey Eccentric, hey Lola. I didn't get to speak to you all. Hey best friend, hey, hi. Thank y'all for coming out. I'm going to give a quote from my grandmother that I shared with Desmond a couple of times, and we were talking about this. I was talking about how my grandmother's mouth was just, it was just a little saucy, a little spicy. She saw my great uncle, her brother, at an event, and he had on an all-white suit. And my grandmother stopped and she looked at him and she looked at us and she said, "Well, don't he look like a fly in a cup of milk?" Well, Miss Beatty, you made me laugh with that today. You made me laugh with that yesterday, and I appreciate that. So I'm sharing that with you all to please go share that fly in a cup of milk with everybody else, because baby, I got tickled even thinking about the conversation that I had about that. So, but I just want to share that little tidbit from her. But that was one of those funny moments for me with my grandmother that I will never forget.
Excellent.
So,
and with that, I guess we will say thank you all for coming out. God bless you and good night.
mwah.
Bye. Mwah, mwah.